And welcome everyone to the Shroud of the Avatar College of Arms Heraldry Hangout for August 12th, 2014. We have a somewhat abbreviated cast this week. Hopefully we will have more people joining us, but between technical difficulties and life difficulties, there's not many of us at the moment. Having been absent for several weeks thanks to a move, I have no idea what's going on. So Grant, I will hand it to you.
All right. Well, last couple weeks we've been chatting a little bit and having impromptu hangouts just to keep things moving forward. Uh, we made a couple agenda items to go over for today. Let's see. I want to see if I can get these in a good order to talk about. One thing is that I'll be rebranding Blazonforge to be the the College of Arms website, and we have the domain name SotACoA, SOTACoA.com, to point to that. Those changes will include like an announcement page, a place where we list the registered devices, and it's not going to be linked to the generator. So we'll upload them and enter them manually that way, so we don't depend on the generator for this whole process for now. It will have, let's see, additional, it'll have a couple of how-to guides, and for that, we were thinking of making a blazoning guide for our heralds, like a process we can follow, and a device creation guide. How to use the charges to make devices, kind of a step-by-step process.
Right.
To make that easier, we're going to move all the approved charges onto a download page that people can easily access, and so we'll have like a complete overview of all the charges that are approved. We're not going to wait for them to go into the generator because it's just taking too long, and it's just an artificial roadblock at this point. That way the public can keep moving forward and download assets so they can play with, and we'll have an official place that we can access the resources from publicly. I guess moving on to segueing into the next two topics. Too bad Bajan
All
isn't
sounds
here.
awesome.
Okay. The Trenic. I want to see if you'd be willing or would have some time to do the blazoning guide.
I can do a blazoning guide.
What we were thinking was kind of like a 10-step process. Doesn't have to be 10, but you get the idea. Where we're going to have an official dictionary of charges that we have approved, so that heralds use the same word for the same charge. And the basic grammar and syntax of blazons.
Well, the dictionary is essentially going to be the download page, right?
Yes. Yeah, you can say it that way. Yeah. Yeah. That'll work.
I mean, it would be difficult to link the name with the actual image if we don't do it that way.
Right. I was thinking of making an index page, but it's the same as a download page, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I was thinking like in alphabetical order, whereas a download page would be grouped by animals, objects, that kind of thing. But yeah, you can just refer to the dictionary as the download page or for now. And then we'll put it all together and we'll have it linked to it.
Well, if I just make a verbal dictionary that just has a list of all the names of the different charges, that's not going to be useful for anything.
No, not you make the dictionary list. Just link to it, refer to it.
Okay.
Mention it. Yeah, don't make it. We'll have it generate automatically. Cool. Well, thanks. That'll help a lot, I think.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we were going to ask Bajan if he could work on a device creation guide, like how to put devices together using something like Inkscape or Draw Plus or something like that, something simple. And then
Have we heard from him lately? Do we know what's going
yeah,
on with him?
he's in the IRC almost daily. So
Okay.
he just keeps checking in and checks to see what's going on.
I've
And
been worried about him with all of the conflict over there.
he has his plans have changed. So he is reduced to about 30 minutes a day to free time at this point.
Lovely.
Yeah, so I mean, but he keeps checking in, and so that's cool. Cool. Yeah. So, and then we'll have that to upload. We'll have a news page where we can make announcements. We'll have the registry that'll have the blazon and the device. I think we want to kind of emphasize that we're registering the blazon more than the device, so that'll stand out more than. We'll try to make that more prominent.
Right.
Let's see. We were thinking of. We talked about that. About the voting process in the past. So the past 5 weeks have been really difficult because we never were able to achieve a quorum with Amber gone.
Right.
Well, it
ahead.
wasn't just Amber.
Well, right, but Naranta said she's moving, so it was kind of known, but Amber kind of fell off because of other issues. And
everybody's issues happened all at once.
right. So we were thinking to avoid that, we could adopt something where something needs only one vote to progress. We have one, like a release day on a Friday, for example, where everything that has a vote without a discussion item gets put through. If somebody raises a question and has a discussion point, then it doesn't go through. If somebody does have a discussion point after the fact that it went through, we bring it up again at that point.
I would probably say 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks from the date of the vote, the first vote. Or I guess submission.
Well,
I don't think it shows the date of the votes.
Why do you think 1 week isn't enough?
Because
I'm just asking. Yeah.
Quite a few people tend to go a week without checking in, but rarely 2 weeks.
But I think we're trying to address that. So we keep things moving.
Right. Let me think about it.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's
talk
not.
with I mean, with just the two of us here, it's kind of hard to make
Right.
a decision.
It's not meant to be punitive to people who don't show up.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just meant
no,
to
I understand
keep the ball
that
rolling.
entirely.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I want to find a balance between keeping things moving and people have a chance to get in there and see it.
Right.
If there's almost not really a point to that though, because if there comes a situation where something gets passed on that sort of measure, and then another sovereign comes back and has a criticism of that entry that was passed, and then we have to go back and tell that person, hey, your entry that we said was passed, well, surprise, it's not really. So
yeah,
what do we do then? Do we
because
just...
I mean, that's kind of the point, is to make sure that people have a chance to get in there and make an objection. Because if only one person sees it, the chances of something getting passed that shouldn't have been is way increased. Excuse me just a moment.
As she lays the smack down.
Sorry. The dog was getting playful. Anyway, I just want to make sure that there is enough of a chance for people to get in there and raise an objection if there's going to be. Because it's really easy for one person to miss something.
That's true. Let's do this then. Go ahead, Trenik.
No, I was going to say, that the intention behind this measure is completely legitimate. These past couple of weeks have kind of shown us that when several weeks go by and nothing really happens, it's actually a big problem. Because when our last communication with somebody, 2 weeks go by after that, and they ask about an update on their arms, and we're like, we don't have one yet. It's a little
disheartening for the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Just like I said, everyone's issues hit all at the same time.
Right, which, that might not happen commonly, but we should have some idea of how we can handle those situations when they do happen.
The other thing we might consider is extending the voting to the heralds instead of just the sovereigns.
Just have all registered college people be able to vote?
No, the heralds. Sovereigns and heralds.
Right.
The top two ranks.
Oh, not artists?
Right.
Well, heralds aren't, herald being the rank, so to speak, not the class.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
Capital H heralds.
Right, yeah.
The lieutenants.
Yeah.
Yes. That would give us another few people. So we just need 3 people to say, yeah, I looked at it, I don't think it breaks any rules.
Right.
And I think the guys that are herald rank are familiar enough that they should be able to say, yeah, it looks good.
Right. I think that sounds good. Why don't we keep that and vote on that next week? To think about.
Right, I will try and remember to discuss it with folks as I see them and see what people seem to think is the better option. Discuss pros and cons.
Right. The lower council is doing it where a scribe reviews a submission and a lore keeper reviews a submission. That's 2, and then they have until the end of until Friday to get it through.
Oh, really? That's how they're doing it?
Yeah.
I won't say anything.
Their impetus is because they submit it directly to Fire Lotus, and from her it goes into the next release cycle for the game. So they have a little bit more pressure. That's why they're doing it weekly. To keep it, to make sure they get like every week 10 or 5 items through. Yeah. See, hang on, I just lost it.
Go away. He's been outside all afternoon. He's clingy.
All right, let's see. Then the other item we need to talk about, kind of just for clarification, is the multi-characters per avatar and how devices are handled for them.
We had discussed, I don't know if it was ever officially voted on, but we had nominally decided that it would follow the rule of words. Words just left. Yes.
Cadence?
Cadency. Yes, that.
There you go. Yeah.
that it would follow the rules of cadency, where it could be 1 point of difference.
Now, that's optional. They could also have many points of difference if they wanted, right?
Yeah, they can do completely different if they want.
Or none at all.
Or none at all.
Right. And you had some concerns in that regard, Trenik?
I did. When the multiple character slot aspect was introduced to the pledge tiers, it was pretty much explained by Darkstar that Richard's take on it and Portalarium's take on it is that each avatar that's part of the same pledge is essentially a different incarnation of the same person, hence the sharing of reputation and all that good stuff. So obviously this isn't an issue in real life because one person can't be 3 different people, but if the 3 different characters are all supposed to be the same person, then should they have different and distinct coats of arms?
I would say yes.
Is it our duty to restrict that?
If you have the same name, or rather a different name and a different appearance, I don't see why you wouldn't have a different coat of arms to represent you.
Well, I guess
unless they're requiring you to have the same name for each one of them.
This comes to a related but different point as well, which is that if this is something that even can be done, it's going to have to be supported by in-game mechanics. So Portalarium will have to make it so to speak.
Right.
So we should, before we're telling people that we can do this, we should understand Portalarium's position on it and whether it's their intention to allow players to do that.
I think we asked somebody at one point, but it's been a while.
Hang on, let me check.
My concern would be, not that I have any weight in the council or anything, my concern would be that, 3 characters, 3 coats, and all of a sudden that's tripling the work per account for getting the devices done. But, I don't know how that's going to end up in the final gist of things. So.
I was just checking Chris's email and it didn't mention anything in there. I guess from my point of view, as a player, they could play that character however they want. Now, not thinking about any kind of game restrictions or anything else that Portalarium puts on there. So they could roleplay that any way they want. And if they can do that, then we shouldn't get in the way. We should let Portalarium decide if that's something that should be feasible or not. If they want to limit the game in that fashion.
I don't have it in my notes. I thought at some point we asked maybe Richard or someone about that. And I seem to recall him saying it's fine either way. But since I don't have it in my notes, I can't quote it.
Well,
I think it might not be a bad idea to double check.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what Richard has said in the past is being trumped by the dev team now in some cases.
It's being trumped by Dallas.
Yeah. Well, and Starlong. They're adjusting for different game mechanics and things that are coming up now that just weren't foreseeable back then, I guess.
Well, yeah, the original plan behind the role-playing aspect of the game was that it is a role-playing game in the very traditional sense of the word, where you are playing a role that is like it's already set. You are you.
Right.
And you're, just like in the Ultimate games, you're controlling an avatar in this other world.
Yeah, you don't have 3 avatars, you have 1 avatar.
Yeah, right. But
I agree.
these times they are changing, and I don't know if that particular time has changed.
Right.
But regardless, in order for that to even work within the game, it would have to be a functionality that Portalarium adds to the game. So before we're telling people that it's okay to do this and it can be done, we need to know that it actually can be done and that it's going to be done.
Right.
Basically, it's if you add the device to the character or to the account.
Right.
On their end, yes. I mean,
I really feel like we talked to someone about this, but I can't recall when.
Honestly, since it's a functionality issue, I would quite like to hear it from Chris, of all people.
yeah, yeah. I'll add that question to my email response back to Chris that I'm still due to him.
I know we definitely had the conversation, and I think we got input from them, but I cannot recall it for sure. So, yeah, definitely double check with him and find out.
Cool. I think that's pretty much it.
Rasmus, shading on skulls and crossbones.
Oh, yes, there was another topic.
Link is in chat.
I think we talked about this a little bit, and after the email from Chris a couple months back, to allow more detailed styling as well, more the traditional heraldry style, similar to like the Kingsport and the Braemar arms.
Okay.
And I think with Rasmus that was an issue. He wanted a school in that direction.
Rasmus is a little upset because his old thread from back in like April or something sort of fell through the cracks, and he never actually got a definitive answer on whether or not that coat of arms that's on that link that I sent you, whether or not that was approved. So he assumed that it was approved when we very recently had to inform him that actually was not the case. And there were just some communication issues with that whole interaction. So he didn't understand that one of the problems with the design was the shading. But our response to that now is that might or might not still be an issue. We don't really know. So that's one of the things we wanted to talk about today.
I thought we had approved that one.
It wasn't in the approved. It was still in the voting section.
No, that's irrelevant. I was just giving it to you to destroy. Can I be heard?
Aiden.
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Oh, you actually can hear me.
Yes, we were just in the middle of discussing stuff.
Wonderful.
Aiden,
We're outside.
I just put back up that
I do exist.
Yay! So do I.
And yes, my health is no longer spelled HELLTH.
Oh
I
yeah.
just put back up that link to the Rasmus thread since I pasted it right before you came in.
Yeah, that was the skull and crossbones with the hourglass underneath.
Yep.
Ah, that one.
Oh, that one.
And for some reason, what stands out to me is that we said it's not valid because it's one of those. It's a perfect copy of one of the pirate flags.
Yes, that is the reason that I remember us saying no.
But
So-
we looked, and we couldn't find anything.
So,
Somebody said, I think it is, but we couldn't find it, and so we said it was okay.
yeah.
Well, the skull and crossbones is a very, very classic pirate symbol, but the hourglass is not.
I may only be on for a few minutes. I'm outside and the rains are coming down.
Fun. Coco.
In many ways, this was my way of checking in and saying, "Hi guys, I still exist. I will be more active starting next week. But my health is improved. My life is improved. Everything is going well."
Excellent.
That's good to hear. Emmanuel Wynn was the pirate. And I have the link here. Hang on. Dun, dun, dun. There was only 1 point difference, not 2 points difference.
Yeah, I see that. Not exactly the same, but it's really close.
Yeah. And
the other question is, were those ever actually registered anywhere?
They weren't ever actually registered anywhere, and for that matter, if we're going off the standard of historically quite recognizable, Emmanuel Wynn isn't.
Right. It's not, did anybody ever have this device? It's, you know, royalty and countries. So I think his is fine. I thought it was a little on the overshaded side, but I don't think it was unapproval. I really thought we had approved it.
Yeah, if shading's no longer an issue, then yeah, there's no reason not to.
Well, is use of the Jolly Roger in heraldry, is that kosher? Is that cool?
Well, I mean, in standard heraldry, you wouldn't have done it because of the connotations, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and the truth is that the connotations of it arose later than traditional heraldry anyway.
I said, it's one of those, his device as it is, I would not approve it as a standard inclusion into the database, but as a custom charge, I don't have a problem with it, especially this one that he resubmitted with the decreased shading.
Yeah. The shading is no longer an issue as with the resubmission, and to be perfectly honest, the one that it's not in conflict with anything, so.
Right. I don't see why it wouldn't be approved. I really thought we already had, as I said.
No.
Okay, that's good news.
Okay, well that's 3 then, because
things slip through cracks. It happens.
Yeah, like I said, now that I am getting settled in and, you know, can move, I will be getting in on Trello in the next day or two and get things moving through.
As will I once we have actual functional internet at my new apartment.
That's helpful.
It's just a matter of reaching in and strangling Comcast. I mean, threatening Comcast. I mean, talking to Comcast.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was just bragging about how great it is to have real, reliable internet, and then it goes down for 20 minutes for the first time since we moved in.
That's because you challenged the internet. Never do that.
Apparently.
It's stronger than you are.
Okay, so is that everything we had on in pressing matters?
And so, if I recall correctly, the biggest issue with the shading style was to get away from the 3D.
Right.
It wasn't the traditional heraldic style. It was more the ones that look 3D-ish.
Right.
Yes.
And the other issue was because of the technical limitations that we had thought existed but don't. So we can do that now with the line drawings.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Cool. No, that's everything. All the agenda items that I have.
It's one of those things that we want to stay away from it as much as possible, but it's not against the rules. It's encouraged, not required.
Okay, yeah.
Like our standard database ones. The standard database ones, I would like to avoid it completely if at all possible. for things that people submit as custom charges, yeah, it's okay. Encourage them to try and remove as much as possible, but it's all right.
Yep. This is why working with a herald is a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to have to go. The rain's just... Someone turned up the faucet.
Okay.
I'll see you guys
I
next week.
definitely try and be in touch over the coming week. We brought up a few topics that I'm especially going to want your input on.
Absolutely. In fact, email me /text me /call me later tonight once I have a place to sit down outside of the rain.
Okey-dokey.
Inside.
Well, actually, why don't you call me when you have time, and I will discuss with you.
Will do.
Alrighty.
Should
Have
I, Aiden, real quick before you go, should I tell Rasmus that the new design he proposed is acceptable, since we
That's
have three
three of
sovereigns?
us. I think we're all okay with it.
Yeah, that's 3 sovereigns saying yes, so yeah.
All right, thanks.
Talk to you later.
Later, Aiden.
Ah.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, so is that the business handled? Shall I go off air? Or do
I
we have
think
something
that's
else?
it.
Alrighty, that'll do us for today then. And hopefully we will be regularly weekly again after this. So, bye.
Bye-bye.